This is the Potomac Local News Podcast, where we bring you the latest on what's happening in your community from Fredericksburg, Manassas, and Woodbridge. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe to get more Potomac Local News, and check us daily at potomaclocal.com for breaking news, community updates, and fun events around town. Now, here's your host, Potomac Local News founder and publisher, Uriah Kiser.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Potomac Local News Podcast. I'm Uriah Kiser, founder and publisher of Potomac Local News, where we are entering our 15th year of covering local news in Prince William and Stafford counties in the cities of Manassas, Fredericksburg, and Manassas Park. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. And we've got an interesting one because there are some developments happening in Gainesville. We reported on the closure of a beloved place that many people called home for a while, but we've got something new that's replacing it, and we're going to find out what that is today. On the podcast is Mark Harrington. He is the owner of Junk Luggers. Mark, thank you for coming on the Potomac Local News Podcast.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
So when we talk about that beloved place was Tin Cannon Brewery. And for so many people, they enjoyed going there. They called it their sort of the cheers of the neighborhood. And we were one of the first ones here at Potomac Local to report on their process because it was a unique brewing process. And they came along back in 2015 when there was an explosion of microbreweries popping up all over the place. Fast forward 10 years, and we were also the first to report the unfortunate news that they are closing. So, but with that, there is, when every door closes, a new one opens, and now you are bringing something new to that space in Gainesville. So I'll let you go ahead and tell us what that is.
Sure. So we are going to move my current Remix Market, which is in Fauquier County, right off Route 29, and we're going to move that into Tin Cannon, the former Tin Cannon Brewing Company. So it'll be a Remix Market, which is a thrift store, and we call it a fun and funky thrift store. So that's what will be going into what is formerly Tin Cannon. I welcome all of their patrons to come visit Remix Market as well, and perhaps can have a keg on tap. Maybe we'll serve them the Tin Cannon's finest IPA.
There you go. I like that. So let's back up a bit and talk about what is Junk Luggers, and then we'll get into your Remix Market. So for those who are not familiar, tell us about the company that you own.
Yeah, so Junk Luggers, it's interesting. First of all, the company does not lug junk, and that may sound funny, but 90% of the items that we pick up are reusable. They can be rehomed to another client. So our goal is not to put anything in a landfill, and that's where Remix comes into play. It's a franchise, and when I joined them, I Googled junk removal near me, and I saw about 25 companies, and they all claim to be donation-focused and eco-friendly, and that's a wonderful goal. But if you don't control the process, you're at the mercy of others. So what I mean by that, when I didn't have a Remix, I'd drive to a local charity partner. It doesn't matter the name. If they're a 501c3, we'd offer the goods that we picked up to donate to them, to which they would then sell to fund their mission. Remix is no different. The challenge for me was if I pull up with a full truck and say, hey, I want to donate everything, and if they said no, I'm still stuck with half a payload. I got to get to the next client. I got to be empty. So I have to dump those items, and that's not our mission. So Remix was really born out of a place to bring my items that we can process things that are AKA junk. We can place them in Remix. They are for sale. And when a client buys something from Remix, it does a couple things. A, keeps it out of landfill. We have no desire of junk, something that's perfectly good. And B, we're partnered with a charity called the Sweet Julia Grace Foundation. Sarah and Jason Knight are the founders. They're based in Bristol.
We know Sarah and Jason very well. They are
there. You go.
People
so
with
a percentage of all proceeds at Remix help that foundation, what they call their rain dancers, which are children with critical medical needs.
Well, that's fantastic. And we wrote about you guys when you guys opened Junk Luggers, and it's been, I want to say you guys have been around for about 5 years in the community. Is that right? I'm
going into my 6th year. Correct.
Good. So my memory is not that far off. I'm not as bad as I thought I might be. Tell me what brought you into this business again, and how did you start? You say you don't lug junk, but the name is memorable. So how'd you get into lugging junk?
That's a great question, and sometimes I ask myself every day, how the heck did I get myself in this situation? But it's a interesting world, this junk world. I think I could do a podcast just on junk removal stories in general. But I did spend 20 years as a vice president for business development, as a business development guy for an IT firm. So if you imagine SCIC or Lockheed Martin or CACI, I was in that world on a much smaller scale. Did it for 20 years. The company sold. I had a little bit of time on my hands. Still needed to be active and generate some revenue. So I was kind of on E on that previous occupation. And I was interested in the world of entrepreneurship. So although it's a franchise, I had have some guidance along the way. And I thought, okay, my skill set is business development. The key part in that is your differentiator, why you're different than your competition. And to me, Remix was that message. I'm not like every junk guy out there. I'm not at the mercy of a 501c3. I can control my own process. So I thought, okay, I have a company. It's unique. Business development is what I do. I thought it was a company that I can grow and scale and take my 60 hours a week and slowly go down to 50 to 40 to 30 to 20 and kind of just run the business in such a way that we're providing a value to the community. And even though, again, if you Google junk removal, every company has the name junk, the things that we get are truly things that, for the most part, can live on in another home with another family for another 20, 30 years.
And I think that goes to the area that we're in. You know, we are blessed when you go, and we do, my family, we go to thrift stores and we like to secondhand shop a lot. And we know that because this area, it's transient, there's so many people moving in and out because of work, because of their station and the government or what have you, frankly, it's an affluent area. So there's a lot of turnover and a lot of new items in these thrift stores that we go to in the area. So Remix Market, you opened that up because you just had a plethora of good things. And is that, and you said Junk Luggers is a franchise. Is that something, do other Junk Lugger franchises also have a Remix Market? Is that something that comes along with the franchise?
It's part of the business model. And what I've always said to whoever I may be talking to within the system, that's what appealed to me in signing on with this franchise. I love the Remix component to it. So again, in 2019, when I was first operating and didn't have a Remix, I was stuck. So we very much had a large Remix in our plan. My current Remix is a 5,000 square foot building. There's plenty of room to process items and bring items in. Last year it did well over $400,000. So think about that. That is the money that most companies would pay $65 a ton just to dump it and be done and carry on. So it really, really was interesting. I know as far as our system is concerned, there are probably 10 to 15 owners that have really embraced the Remix methodology. Our New York store does well over $1 million a year. Our California store does very, very well. I'm always consistently in the top 3 in terms of revenue for Remix. So it's something that I encourage all of our Junk Luggers owners to do. But, you know, it takes the capital to have the building and have the staff. So there's a cost that's incurred. And that's something that I hope, you know, I try to talk to clients about. Yes, we're removing your items. Yes, we're charging you for that. I could then take the easy way out, dump it for $65 a ton, or I could take to my Remix, pay for the labor, the rent, the mortgage at this point, since I'm moving in, and simply say, look, guys, this is part of our mission to make these items continue on, support our charity. The client gets a tax receipt. So the whole story to me, we're really living by the message. You can say, you know, that cliche term, eco-friendly, you know, we will donate to our charity partners. That's great to say. I don't think a lot of folks do it to the capacity that we do, and that's not a knock on them. They just simply don't have the facilities that we do.
So I have not been to your Remix Market. So, but you said it's on Route 29, which is a very highly trafficked highway going from I-66 down to Charlottesville, and you're right there in Fauquier County. And so you're moving into an office industrial park where the old space where Tin Cannon Brewery used to be, and you're that's a lot different than having that highway exposure and being so front facing, but you are moving into a more densely populated area in
Correct.
Prince William County.
Yep.
So talk to me about the thought process of that whole move and what it's going to mean for your business.
Yeah, so the thought process is I've always wanted to own. And with all the data center stuff going on in this area, I've been priced out. I can't buy dirt for $1 million an acre. So with me, it was really a couple things. It was zoning to make sure I'm zoned properly to operate the business. I've been searching for commercial property for about 4 years now. And when Tin Cannon came up, we jumped on and said, look, yes, this is a place it's closer to Gainesville. I'm currently in Fauquier County, right off Route 29, right behind Mayhew's and near Northside 29, some of those landmarks. But we are still tucked back. We have people that come in after 4 years of operation said, I never knew you were here. It makes me want to pull my hair out. So getting closer to Gainesville does a couple things. Closer to density, you're exactly right. I live in the zip code 20169. So all our surrounding areas, our trucks will be seen. Hopefully get more foot traffic in our area. Our neighbor is Evolution Sports. We have families going into the sports complex. So we love the neighbors around us. We're not visible off a main road like 29, but we're right off Limestone. And I think my theory is anyone that has Google or Waze or any type of navigation can find us.
Right.
So we think it'll be a fun place. It has a second level, has a roll-up door out back. I know Tin Cannon did a lot of stuff with bands and Jiffy Lube and all of those fun things. So it seems to be an area where our neighbors will allow us to operate the way we want. We can have some outdoor activities. We do lots of workshops and fun things. So we've always tried to make Remix, we call it a fun and funky thrift shop, but we've always tried to have a good vibe and a fun place. And my thought is if you walk into any old thrift store, sometimes they feel a little dreary and depressed. We always want to have a vibrant, fun place. And that's something we really try to do that we're definitely going to do as we build out this new place. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So for those like myself who have never been, and when you compare it to a thrift store, what types of items would hit you when you walk in? Describe the place. Paint a picture for us for those who have never been.
Yeah, I would. If you check out our Google reviews, I think I'm really proud of that, and you'll see clients say, "Hey, it's a great place and a fun atmosphere and great prices and all those things." I think what strikes me is every day there's something new, and every day there's something crazy, and every day you go, "Wow, I can't believe someone gave us that." And I go, no, they didn't give us that. They paid us to take it away. They were trying to do the right thing by simply just not trashing this thing. So, when you walk in, it's a mixture of home decor. We have lots of clothing. We have lots of home decor. We have some fascinating things. I mean, half the place is a time capsule. I did an estimate last week at a farmhouse that was built in the 1800s. That was fascinating. We just get a little bit of everything. It's amazing. My Remix manager, her name is Megan. And if we were looking for something, she says, put it out to the universe. And sure as heck, the next day on the truck in arrives whatever we were looking for. So, the shop, again, I think last year we did about 8,000 transactions. And you can find just a little bit of anything there. I mean, fishing poles, sports equipment, clothing, furniture, DVDs, CDs. It goes on and on and on. Paintings, artwork. It's a little bit of everything.
I'm going to put you on the spot right here and ask you what has been the most strangest, most unique, weird. I can't believe I just got this item that you've picked up in your going into 6 years of operating now.
Is this a rated X question, a rated R question, or a rated,
we don't have ratings on this one, but we will keep it, keep it nice and neat.
I feel like you could go through your verticals and you go, okay, in this area, what have you seen? So we've seen swords and knives and daggers and ammunition. We've seen things that we've had to turn over to the local authorities.
Interesting.
We have seen a lot of things that just make you go, huh, that's interesting. I never thought I'd see that again in my life. I mean, I was walking through a home that was going to be demoed, and I have just a fascination of history. I found a 3-cent stamp, that was on a letter, and it didn't even say 123 Elm Street. It just said to, Mr. Smith and Catlett. It's just a town. So it was those days where they're just, you know how to find those people. We've gotten RVs, we've gotten vehicles, mopeds, aquariums. The most interesting story is the guys were in Dominion Valley and there was a bearded iguana crossing the road. Obviously someone's pet escapes. And my guy picked it up and we posted on social, and we must have got 500 comments on that post alone. So really, there's nothing off limits at Remix other than things we're not allowed to do. No weapons, nothing like that. But when you walk into the store, you can almost, if you're looking for something, it may very well be there. It's such a fascinating world. And again, I spent 20 years as an IT guy and wearing a suit and tie. The last time I was a blue collar guy, I was going through college and building decks and landscaping. But it's such a fascinating world that we're in. Helping clients. There are some sad situations we get into, but some of the work we do is we walk out of there, the clients are crying, the guys are crying, and it's a really fun merging the two worlds, Junk Luggers and Remix. Really brings it all together for a fun environment. I may have not have answered your question on the most unique thing, because quite frankly, I could probably rattle off 20 different things of when it comes in, we're like, wow, I can't believe we got that.
From swords and weapons confiscation to animal rescue, it sounds like no day is the same for you guys out there.
Correct.
Finally, if you will, walk through the timeline and when we can expect to see some activity going on over in Gainesville and when you'll be opening up.
Sure. So we're going to try to run both stores in parallel as long as we can. So we're going to stay in Warrenton. Our targeted cutover really is the end of June to be fully operational in Gainesville. So we're going to work to build out the place and get our color schema in there and have it laid out nicely. Do some work on the upper level mezzanine. We do a lot of glass workshops that have been a hit, so we may make the upstairs a workshop only area. That's still TBD. But really by the end of June, we should be fully up and functioning, closing down. The goal is to kind of sell Warrenton out and then build up the inventory in Gainesville and then do a cutover to have the business run parallel maybe a month or two and then cut over to Gainesville.
Well, the new Remix, it's Remix. You call it a thrift store? What's the official title?
Call it a fun and funky thrift store. I mean, there's no doubt we're a thrift store. I'd like to say we're a bit of an elevated experience. Our average transaction is $47. A Goodwill average transaction is $14. But there's a reason for that. And you walk in, it's going to feel a little bit more of a curated experience, and it's something we're very, very proud of.
The Remix will be located at 7679 Limestone Drive, Suite 130 in Gainesville, right there. It's very near the intersection in that general area of Virginia Gateway and the intersection of Linton Hall Road and Route 29. So you are coming over eventually into Prince William County, and we certainly welcome you. Mark Harrington is the owner and chief junk lugger at Junk Luggers. And thank you so much for coming on the Potomac Local News Podcast.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.